Stories of Indian mythology have a unique way of showing good and bad. Even the scariest of demons can have the highest of morals. Kumbhakarna, the titan among demons, was one of such virtuous characters. He killed hundreds and thousands of opponents in the battlefield, forced the heroes to withdraw their advances, and even after that, when he finally fell, the very same heroes paid their utmost respect to him. Today let's delve into the stories of this colossal demon warrior and see how he would be a character in Dungeons and Dragons, and of course, we shall draw him as a D&D hero too. The Indian epic Ramayana tells us the stories of Kumbhakarna. He is the brother of the Demon King Ravana, the chief antagonist of the epic. Kumbhakarna was considered as the strongest mortal on earth in terms of raw physical power. He had an insatiable hunger and an evergreen body that terrified even the gods. For years he performed incredible penance with his elder brother Ravana, but when it was time to receive boons from the prime god of creation, other gods tricked him and made him to ask for eternal sleep instead of eternal seat of heaven. On Ravana's timely intervention, the eternal sleep was changed into long slumber for 6 months. Now, on how many days will he stay awake differs in different versions of the epic. Some say 6 months slumber followed by 6 days of staying up. Some say 6 months sleep followed by 6 months of staying awake. However, this boon or curse had its other benefits. On the surface, Kumbhakarna appeared to be a simple lazy glutton, only sleeping and eating, but he actually utilized the time he had between his sleep to learn everything he could. Soon he became an unparalleled master of weapons with great knowledge of strategies, battle formations and also logical tactics. He knew very well when to attack and when to retreat. His physical growth also knew no bound. He kept on growing, and by the time of his final fight, his size even shadowed mountains. He was an unstoppable colossal juggernaut, a titan among demons, whose very presence could turn the tide of the most unfavorable battles. Just think how dangerous an opponent like him can be, who is literally the strongest being in the field with the size of a mountain and also has a sound tactical mind filled with expert battle strategies. It is truly a devastating combination. No wonder Ravana managed to conquer all the known realms with his army. Loosely based on this, we are going to reimagine him in Dungeons and Dragons. If we are to retain the features that made Kumbhakarna most interesting, thinking him as a player is not a good option. The incredible size and strength of this titan have to be curtailed down to a minimum to even consider him as a player character, or else it will be like playing on god mode. But if we diminish his attributes, he may lose his most exciting speciality and become a seasoned warrior with maybe giant's blood or some rune magic for increased strength and size. However, even with that, we cannot capture the sheer physical prowess of the Titan of Lanka. Moreover, maintaining his size and strength constantly also come under god mode. So, the best route to incorporate him in D&D is to imagine him as a boss. However, if you think he can be incorporated as a player in some ways, please let us know in the comments. Mythologically, he is so huge that no known playable race is out there for him. We can think of using the ogre, but there are some problems. Ogres are brute monsters in D&D and not very bright when it comes to using their brains. We may have some ogre spellcasters, but even the brightest of ogres are no match for a moderately intelligent human. And the thing that makes Kumbhakarna incredible that he simultaneously possessed a brilliant mind and a hulking body. We can go with the giants because they represent the size, and some can be also on par in case of intellect, such as the cloud giants, storm giants or fire giants. To add the ever-growing aspect while using giants, after much thought we are going with Tiefling with ancient giant blood running in his veins. Maybe some magical forces activated the latent giant blood and caused the growth anomaly. This way, we can connect him with his regular sized brothers. So he will be a colossal Tiefling giant in the art. Why we include Tiefling? Because I like the horns and Tiefling is one of the coolest races in Dungeons and Dragons. As a Tiefling, he gets Dark Vision, Hellish Resistance, which is resistance to fire damage, Infernal Legacy, which gives Thaumaturgy cantrip, with Hellish Rebuke, and Darkness spells for spellcasters. Thaumaturgy can give him commanding presence and authority with a bigger stature. He also gets Charisma stat bonus. He will speak Giant, Infernal, and Common. Kumbhakarna was a renowned melee warrior, the largest and strongest of all the demons under Ravana's army. His mere presence was enough to force the enemies to retreat. But whenever he actually engaged in battle, his martial excellence was another deadly thing to be faced. Simple but dangerously effective movements with a colossal physical frame were a destructive combination. As he is a giant here, we don't need to consider classes or subclasses with features that make them huge. So we can go straight to the basic warrior archetype, which is fighter class with champion subclass. Champion is the most straightforward fighter with features like improved critical, remarkable athlete, indomitable, two fighting styles, superior critical, and multiple extra attacks and so on. The increased critical strike chances can be compared with the huge damage output of Kumbhakarna. Remarkable athlete gives movement and initiative bonus, which goes with Kumbhakarna being a humongous juggernaut. Indomitable helps in saving throws and it can equate with physical resilience of the demon titan. As a champion fighter, Kumbhakarna will be a fighting powerhouse. He will be dual wielding two giant great maces. Although from the outside, Kumbhakarna resembled a great giant with huge appetite for both food and war and appeared to be a sluggish monster who knew nothing beside bloodlust, he was actually a level-headed warrior with high moral. He respected his opponents no matter how insignificant they were and genuinely praised their courage to face him. When he knew of Ravan's folly of kidnapping Lady Sita, he furiously rebuked his brother for such heinous act. But then again, he showed his full loyalty and faced the divine army of Lord Ram despite knowing that he was going against the righteous. He knew his duty full well and strictly followed it to his death even if he was committing evil deeds. Based on this, we can assume that his alignment is lawful evil. Kumbhakarna acted as the vanguard of the demon army and acted as a stalwart defender. His mere presence is intimidating enough for his foes. For this, soldier background should be apt for him. He will get proficiencies in intimidation and athletics for his background. Constitution and strength should be his primary attributes, while we can put leftover points with wisdom and dexterity. Since the time before time, the denizens of Lanka have been a constant cause of concerns to the people of Faerûn. The source of this anxiety is mainly due to a large number of feral tieflings living freely and ruling over the local orc and goblin population and other beastly species. These tieflings, governed by some pretty charismatic and powerful leaders, are known to challenge even the demons of Nine Hells. Though often feared, the rulers of Lanka maintained a strenuous but somewhat stable relationship with the mainland. But things began to turn bleak when Ravan and his brothers Kumbhakarna and Bibhishan became the rulers of Lanka. With a goal to unite all the species that are hated and ostracized, these three began a campaign that is both bloody and diplomatic. While Bibhishan looks over the diplomatic approach, bloodbath becomes Kumbhakarna's territory. Kumbhakarna's story begins in the shadow of a mysterious and long-lost ancestry, one that threads the line between the infernal and the titanic. Born into a tiefling bloodline already steeped in the otherworldly, Kumbhakarna's lineage was further marked by an ancient secret, the faint traces of giant blood coursing through his veins. This legacy, long forgotten by even his family, harbored a lineage that carried the dormant spark of giant might hidden beneath the layers of infernal heritage. For generations, this spark lay quiet, buried under the dominant tiefling traits that defined Kumbhakarna's family. But the blood of giants is not easily extinguished. It simmered beneath the surface, waiting for the right catalyst to awaken its dormant potential. That catalyst arrived in Kumbhakarna's late youth, a time when his prodigious strength and towering height already set him apart from his peers. A magical anomaly, a convergence of chaotic energies born of the plains, unleashed the slumbering powers within him. This event, sudden and uncontrollable, triggered a transformation the likes of which the world has never seen. Kumbhakarna's body began to grow, first at an alarming rate and then beyond all comprehension. His bones stretched and thickened, his muscles swelled, and his frame expanded to proportions that dwarfed even the mightiest of giants. He rose way above all of his peers in terms of strength and size. Kumbhakarna became a living monument to power, a towering figure that inspires both awe and terror in equal measure. But this awakening came with an unforeseen cost. The surge of giant blood while granting him unparalleled strength and size, overwhelmed his mortal body. The strain of harboring such immense power proved too much for his physical form to bear continuously. His body, as though compensating for the incredible energies coursing through it, imposed a cycle of deep slumber upon him. For 6 months at a time, Kumbhakarna would sleep, his colossal form lying dormant as his body regenerated and stored the vast reserves of power needed to sustain him. These periods of hibernation were not merely rest, but a necessary recalibration, allowing his form to endure the immense strain of his transformation. When the 6 months of slumber ends, Kumbhakarna awakes, briefly, but with a force that shakes the world. For 6 days, he becomes a living juggernaut, a being of unmatched martial prowess and resilience. During this brief window, he is absolutely immortal. No weapon can pierce his flesh, no spell can break his spirit, and no enemy can bring him to his knees. His body, infused with the primal might of giants and the infernal resilience of his tiefling heritage, is impervious to harm. This state of immortality, combined with his towering size and unmatched combat skills, made Kumbhakarna a force of nature on the battlefield. His enemies, no matter how numerous or powerful, were reduced to nothing before his onslaught. He could charge through armies, break through fortifications, and wrest victory from the jaws of defeat with an ease that seemed almost divine. The ground quaked beneath his steps, his roars echoed like thunder, and his twin iron maces wrought devastation wherever they struck. But these 6 days of unstoppable might are as much a curse as they are a blessing. While his power is undeniable, its brevity means that he is always racing against the clock. Each moment of his wakefulness is a calculated decision, a weighing of necessity against opportunity. Kumbhakarna's immense potential is constrained by the inevitability of his return to slumber, a vulnerability that his allies and enemies alike have to consider. To prematurely wake him up was to invoke his wrath and risk a battle against a colossus. But to wait for his foreseeable dormancy was to hope for a chance at survival. Only his brothers can wake him up during his slumber, but that too requires inhuman effort. His skin has an infernal reddish hue, with almost no scars in his entire body, despite him fighting hundreds and thousands of battles, killing countless opponents. 2 massive carved horns rise from his forehead, sweeping backward in an elegant arc, giving him an even more imposing silhouette. His hair is neatly tied with massive golden rings. They frame a face that is both fierce and regal, with his eyes burning with an eerie green glow. Draped over his massive shoulders is a white fur cape, stitched together from the hides of hundreds of beasts he has slain in his wakeful moments. Each pelt represents a conquest, a life taken in his relentless path of domination. Its pristine white hue is starkly juxtaposed against the blood and ash that often surround him, making him even a more striking figure. He cares not for a full body armor, for it is almost impossible to harm him physically, but wears brightly colored garb to revel in extravagance. In each hand, Kumbhakarna wields a weapon that only he could hope to lift. Twin iron maces, each as large and heavy as a tree. They are as brutal as elegant with jade green body and spiked cobalt with molten gold. On his hand, they can demolish fortifications, topple siege engines, or obliterate entire ranks of soldiers. The sound of his maces striking the earth is a thunderous crack, like a storm unleashed upon the battlefield. Kumbhakarna is more than just a brute. His mind is a weapon as sharp as any blade. He is a master tactician, capable of orchestrating complex battle strategies that make full use of his army's diverse and savage composition. He knows of the shortcomings of his brief immunity and goes all out to leave nothing for his brothers to fight, and his army can easily hold the fort while he sleeps. The exact cycle of his slumber and awakening is a crucial information and only known to his brothers, which keeps enemies from ever attacking. As Ravana's chief commander, Kumbhakarna leads a vast and terrifying army. From monstrous beasts to cunning Wanti, from giants, wyverns, ogres to feral orcs, bugbears and hobgoblins, from crazed tieflings to savage goblins, only someone like him can dominate and command such a frightening band of creatures. Despite his menacing appearance, Kumbhakarna is a paradox of character. He is level-headed, humorous, and surprisingly good-natured. He delights in good food, an appetite befitting his size, and he often jokes that it's a blessing he sleeps for 6 months. Otherwise, he would empty entire kingdoms of their provisions. His sense of humor and calm demeanor make him a beloved figure among his soldiers, despite leading a brutal and savage army. Kumbhakarna's tactical brilliance and martial prowess are tempered by a strong sense of morality and honor. He is a warrior who values courage and loyalty, qualities he expects from both his allies and enemies. This sense of fairness, combined with his immense power, has earned him the respect of foes who survive encounters with him. His unwavering loyalty to his brother Ravan is a cornerstone of his identity, and he would march into the depths of the nine hells itself to protect him. When Kumbhakarna enters the battlefield, the very ground trembles beneath his feet. His charges are legendary, capable of breaking enemy lines and scattering entire armies. The sheer force of his movements is enough to topple siege engines and reduce walls to rubble. He can take on entire armies single-handedly, and only the most desperate or foolish would attempt to face him during this time. During his 6 days of wakefulness, Kumbhakarna becomes a living nightmare. It is only the untold strategies of Ravan that keeps Kumbhakarna's might at bay, and Ferun is not overwhelmed by the sheer force of Kumbhakarna and his terrifying band of savages. However, if any foolish band of adventurers or greedy guild tries to cross his path or lays a finger on people of Lanka, the complete decimation is guaranteed. So, here's the final artwork of Kumbhakarna, the demon titan of Lanka as a Dungeons and Dragons boss. In this drawing, we are trying to capture Kumbhakarna's colossal size and make him look both fierce as a warrior and commanding as an army chief. Hope you like the art and the discussion. Tell us which mythological or fictional character you want to see as a fantasy hero or villain next, and we will be drawing them while discussing it with you. If you like this video, please check out our channel where we make art, discuss on mythologies, stories, video games, and many other things. You can also like and share this video and leave your valuable comment. Subscribing to our channel is also very much appreciated. We are also available for art commissions. You can check out the links given in the description. Thank you. See you soon.